Hello and welcome to another episode of Sustainability in Your Ear, the Earth911 podcast. I'm Mitch Ratcliffe, your host today. We have another innovator interview, and it's with Theresa Carter, who is a mother and activist in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who has launched a petition to take on Target's use of single-use plastic bags, which she points out get used for about 12 minutes before they end up as waste. And in most cases, less than 1% of plastic bags are recycled. Even if you're sending it out to be recycled, they end up being unrecycled. So, Theresa, you have had a phenomenal success. You've got 310,000 people who have signed your petition. What got you started on this project?
Well, I think it's kind of a culmination of things that got me started on it and made me think that this was such an important thing to do. I just think we're learning so much right now in the media about the problems of plastic pollution. You know, we've got whales and dolphins that are in the news washing up on beaches chock full of plastic.
Yep.
And then also in the last year or so, we've learned so much about how the recycling system is breaking down. I think it really came to a head when China and India stopped taking American plastic waste. And we realized it started to hit the news, and we realized, wow, we're sending a lot of our plastic abroad. It's ending up actually stockpiled and not recycled in most instances. And that makes recycling more expensive in America. A lot of our recycling here is now getting burned that used to be sent for what we thought was recycling.
Right.
We're just learning it's not working.
Yeah, and we obviously cover that here all the time, and what we see happening, and I think you're one of the people who are going to drive this, is a demand for a change in recycling in the United States that is what should be the next generation of our solution to living sustainably. So it's, you took the approach of becoming an activist. So tell us about the change.org petition that you put together.
Okay, well, my mom and I actually started this petition together. I'm a 44-year-old wife and mom and daughter, and she's a 73-year-old woman, just with a lot of passion for her family and also for the world, and wanting the world to be a place that is a wonderful place to live for generations to come. And we're both Target shoppers. So we decided to take on this plastic problem and to start in the store where we shop. We're both red card holders, and and we shop there quite often, but we just couldn't stand anymore to watch the plastic bags fly out of the store. And the majority of Target stores only have plastic as an option, and not a lot of people in a lot of stores are bringing their own bags. So a lot of plastic is flying out of their stores, and we were deeply concerned about it. So we wrote a petition and we started to spread the word. That started very organically and slowly. At first, we reached out to our spheres and begged people to help spread the word.
You also used Facebook, and I think the interesting thing is you chose change.org rather than doing your own petition. So you have a publicly accessible place for the petition, but you activated your personal networks to get this started. But then that drove 310,000 signatures. That's a remarkable accomplishment. How did you communicate? How do you share this idea on Facebook to get people to pay attention?
Well, it's actually a lot easier than you'd think, because people really care about this issue. And so, when we started out on Facebook, we try to, and we've started on Nextdoor as well, Reddit, Yelp even, although that didn't go as well. But it's just to positively say, hey, Target, we would love to have this change. Your customers are asking for change, and we'll love you if you do it. And people click on that and sign up rather enthusiastically. So I think once we found a way to get it to people in various states, it really took off on its own. It took off slowly till about 8,000, and then it really just, started multiplying.
So as you look at this, and you make a really important point, and by the way, we spoke the other day, so I'll draw on that conversation. We talked about the fact that regulators are simply not stepping up to deal with this problem. So citizens have to make these requests directly to the companies that they shop. And as you point out, you're a loyal customer. You want them to be better. It isn't that you're telling them they're bad people. You're giving them the incentive to do the right thing. How important do you feel that is for all of us to start to do, just as you look around? I mean, at the recycling crisis, as you've already pointed out, but plastic bags and single-use straws, these are all things that customers can make a difference. But a lot of companies and a lot of people say, we don't matter individually. You clearly believe we each matter. How do you get yourself started when you feel like, wow, I'm not going to make a difference?
Well, I think we have a couple of ways to influence retailers. One is a way that I think most of us are more in touch with, and that's using our voting with our dollar, right? Mm-hmm. You can vote through what you buy and where you buy. And we all have a lot of experience with that because we've made choices with what we buy our whole lives. I think advocacy and trying to influence systemic change is not as natural to most of us. It certainly wasn't to me. It was just when I felt so compelled to act that, you learn by doing and by seeing what works. But I think that because plastic manufacturers on trend to double, what any given person can do by, we try hard to live low impact lifestyles, and so many of us are learning to do lower and lower waste. I think that's all super important, and it helps wake us all up to the issue also. But you can start to think, what impact am I having personally when actually, we're on track in the next 20 years to have twice as much plastic in the world as there is today. And so to attack that, I think we need systemic changes, and we need to start speaking up. And I think stores do care what their customers care about. Target has said, Brian Cornell, their CEO, has said that they want to evolve with their customers. Mm-hmm. And so, a petition is a way for us to say, hey, we're evolving. Listen, this is what we want and care about, and we want you to care about it too.
So, and they don't see the petition as an attack, which is a really important difference in the way a lot of companies perceive organized requests from consumers. Do you think that they're kind of unique that way? Or do you believe that most companies would respond positively to the expression of, we want to love you more, but you need to do this for us?
Well, I think we've certainly seen it work. Kroger had a big petition that was out there to them about plastic bags, and they made a 2025 commitment to get rid of plastic. Man, with them putting out $6 billion a year, I'd really like to see them do that faster. So I think we need to keep telling them to do that faster. But they did respond positively, and I think it can be in the approach that people take when they write the petition and spread the petition. But also, I'm not sure how unique it is. What have you seen with people you've talked to?
I have worked with a number of major brands over the course of my career, and generally anytime somebody objects to the way they do things, they see that as a negative. There are some enlightened companies out there that understand what they're really doing is redesigning their business to be better for the consumer and their consumer values. So, we don't want to pollute, and we're simply sharing that with the company. But a lot of companies will take that as, well, look, they think we're wrong and they're attacking us. And I think the way you went about this and the way you communicated, not only through the change.org petition, but that you've had a dialogue that and as I understand it, change has helped you get that dialogue going too. That they hear the human voice of the consumer, the customer that they serve every day, instead of seeing numbers that just look bad. And that's the important thing, is to raise us all up as citizens, consumers who are making those active choices. But what you mentioned earlier, and I'd like to hear what you think about this. You spend your dollars purposefully, but do you communicate the purpose to those other retailers that you spend money with? And I think that's where we can do more.
Right. And even when I'm in other stores that I don't have a petition with, sometimes I stop and fill out a comment card and say, hey, thanks for the for not having plastic around all of your broccoli. That's a change that I saw, and I think it's great. Please do more. I think that we can, the more they hear from people, the more they know that that's what people want to see. Yeah, so I think we can do advocacy in small ways and big ways.
Right. And I think your emphasis on the positive, this is making me like this more, is really one of the most effective elements of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that companies really do care what their customers think. So I think it can be effective to talk to them as customers more so than what large organizations, if they have some large NGOs that are coming toward them, they can sometimes feel more threatened, I think, than if it's customers that are talking to them.
Yes, that is absolutely true. I've heard that expressed many times. An organization is a frightening opponent in their mind, and a customer is part of the family.
Right.
Yeah. Now, your petition is titled "Target Stop Filling the World with Plastic Bags," and it's at www.change.org/targetplasticbags. People can still sign and make a difference, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's really important that we, just kind of keep spreading it and keep using our voices to ask for this change, because though Target is communicating right now about this and thinking about it, we're not there yet, and so we need to keep telling them, if the petition just stops and no one else signs it, I don't think that would be great. I really want people to keep getting their eyes on it. And when people do, people want to sign it. There's been a good reaction to it because I think people are ready for these changes. I don't know if you saw, but Axios just did a survey recently, and they found that, I think it was 89% of people have said they're willing to bring reusable bags if stores stop giving out bags. So I think people are ready for this and know there's a problem.
Yeah, and they simply need to communicate that so that the companies stop providing the free destructive bag and encourage them to use those.
And a number of stores have taken this step already. Trader Joe's. Go ahead.
Who are the heroes in this so far? Which companies do you admire most after watching this for a while?
Well, Trader Joe's is making big changes and have promised big changes. Wegmans, Big Y. Aldi did really well on the recent Greenpeace did a whole survey of trying to figure out, the plastic footprint of various stores, and Aldi scored the best. They seem quite committed. So I think all of those stores are increasingly trying to do a good job. I think Target actually, as a sustainability leader, does care. They've done a lot in solar and renewable energy. I just think they're falling behind on plastic pollution, and they need to they have kind of a dated approach to plastic pollution and need to kind of step up there. Yep. But I would say overall, they do care about the environment.
Yeah, we would agree. And our survey of solar using retailers has them high up in the list. So that's it. But it's interesting. You're describing a more comprehensive environmental view from the consumer perspective and you describe Target as kind of falling behind. That's not a critique of Target per se. It's really a statement of how important the opinion of consumers is to where companies should be. And so now we're starting to set higher bars, and your petition is certainly an example of providing a positive set of feedback that will help a company make a better decision.
Yeah, I think that America's shopping culture is changing in general. We're not just looking for products that we want to fill our home or to consume, but people are increasingly worried about the environment, and they want stores, they want government, they want everyone to kind of care about this and work together because people are worried. And so I think when stores make changes or listen to people, it gives people hope.
And I think that your survey gives people hope. So folks, if you're listening, check out www.change.org/targetplasticbags. And that is where you can sign and join the petition. Theresa, thank you very much for taking this on. It's an inspiration to see it.
Well, thank you, Mitch. Thank you for having me today. And thank you so much for all of your advocacy for the environment and everything that you do as well.
Well, thanks. So, folks, we'll be back with another Sustainability in Your Ears soon. This is Mitch Ratcliffe, Earth911, and we'll hope you have a good day. Take care.